Welcome to the John Fourcade Show. One of our John Fourcade specials this week, all remaining 2016 F-250s, over $11,000 in savings. You can come here to Veterans Ford, ask the dealer for details, but all remaining 2016 F-250s, over $11,000 off in savings right here at Veterans Ford. Welcome back to the John Fourcade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. Mike to tell you, John Fourcade. John, this wasn't anything like we would have predicted. We thought it was going to be a close game. I thought 34-31, somewhere in that range, that it would be 16-13. Man, you could have got a lot of play on that. I mean, that's an unbelievable deal. The Giants went up and down the field, over 400 yards of total offense, 3 turnovers, all in the first half. Drew Brees again, 263 yards passing, 1 touchdown. But it came down to one critical issue. Turnovers from the Giants side, bad special teams play by the Saints.
It is definitely what you hit the nail on the head. Special teams in this game, and people want to say, well, it's the kicker's fault. It wasn't the kicker's fault. They blew up the inside lane right now. Someone came in there, and they'll say he kicked it low. No, it wasn't. It was a bad blocking scheme up front. That's the problem they had there. But, Mike, how do you play a team, loses 16-13, didn't even score a touchdown on a punt return? They scored, on a block kick, score a touchdown, 3 field goals, and you lose 16-13. That's pathetic offense for the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost unexplainable at this point, because if you go back over the last 5 years, teams that get 3 turnovers and don't turn the ball over, they win basically 90% of the games. Well, you win the 11%, because it's really 89%. You win the 11% that lost. What's interesting on the field goal was comments made by Janoris Jenkins after the game. His coach, Coach Quinn, and himself both noticed in the Raiders game that the wings for the Saints were turning their backs. So it's not really the inside, because what's happened, it's dominoed. Max Unger, the wing on one side, Mankiewicz, wing on the other side, and they noticed it and basically became a domino deal. One catching one play, because you're really supposed to block inside.
Correct.
Not outside in, but inside out. And what happened is, it looks as though Andrews Pete missed the block, but the real point was that it started with Unger on one side, and they almost got the field goal blocked on the other side by Mankiewicz, who absolutely whiffed. That's where Human would have been years ago. The other thing is, if the Giants noticed it and it happened on the blocked field goal that actually Lutz kicked in, that was good, if the Giants noticed it, how come the Saints didn't?
Special teams coaching. That's, they figured, we'll make this excuse for this one time and then go on about it. But you've got to correct that. There's no way. He's had a few balls tipped and went in for for field goals. He's had blocked field goals. They're getting close enough, Mike. In the Raiders game and this game, the special teams has been let down. And you better get on. You can talk all you want about the secondary. You can talk all you want about everything. Special teams can cost you an easy game, and it did. You don't give up a touchdown on the defense side of football. You give up 3 field goals. You convert 3 turnovers to give to your offense, and they come away with nothing. So you can't sit there and blame the defense in this game. Now, the first game of the season, you got to blame the defense, because they let the score get out of hand. This game, the defense kept you in the football game with what? With a secondary guy, P.J. Williams, who got hurt, who's out. Moore plays a pretty good football game. Secondary guy, hey, look, you were right. The Giants went up and down the field. So what? They didn't score any points. They wasn't scoring points. So where's your offense? 88 yards rushing? 41 yards rushing, I believe it was. That's pretty embarrassing in the NFL.
Well, I think when you look at it, some of the key factors that were part of the success of this team in 06, in 09, in 11 was that they could run the football when they needed to. It wasn't a great running team, but they could when they needed to. Where's the tight end in this offense? It's highlighted throughout the years. Jeremy Shockey, David Thomas, Jimmy Graham, Ben Watson, Kobe Fleener, 8 targets, and he got 29 yards of receptions on 2 catches. Man, listen, that's unacceptable when you're guaranteeing this guy over $30 million a year. One-on-one downfield, you got to get open, and you got to catch the ball when it's in your area.
I totally agree. And it also goes to the blocking scheme. They really haven't had an awesome tight end to come in here who can block for you. And that also affects your running game. I saw one scenario where they had Snead blocking Collins.
No,
on a
that
motion
ain't gonna
play.
work.
In the running play, the guy got a 3-yard loss. I mean, let's be honest. You're going to have Snead and Cooks blocking. That's ridiculous for you to even think about that. I don't understand what's going on with their offense. I know they changed and went with Carmichael. You better go back to Peyton calling these plays. 2 games already. You're 0-2. They're having no running game. I don't like what I'm seeing in the running game department. They better find a way to get some running game. Granted, he's throwing 40-something passes. It's not that bad. I mean, until he starts throwing into 50. But then again, the Saints only had 25 minutes of offense in the whole game. 25 minutes.
Stats and Films did a deal that over the last 2 years, Tom Brady has gotten rid of the football quicker than anybody in the NFL.
Correct.
Drew Brees has been second. After 2 weeks, guess who's getting rid of the football quicker than anybody else? Drew Brees. I mean, he sees that pressure getting on him and really quickly. I got to give the Giants a lot of credit, though. I mean, they really improved on the defensive side of the football. Where they spent their money at really has paid off. And ex-Saint Jonathan Casillas, he stayed healthy now. He's really been a big part of that success.
They have their defense, and I like their defense a little bit last year. They just had some issues. They were talking about the defense coordinator who was with the Saints, Spagnuolo. I've always liked him. I thought he was pretty good as a defensive coordinator, maybe not as a head coach. He's got that defense up and running. The problem I saw in this game was the Giants' offense was probably as bad as the Saints' offense. And I'm like, wait a second. With these guys on the outside, with the potentials what Eli can do, this is offense. You think you can win a Super Bowl with this offense? No way.
All I know is it's the most conservative game plan I have seen. Man, listen, I thought Les Miles was coaching that offense as conservative as it was. When you got beat up all across the board at the cornerbacks, they only threw one deep pass. Only one. And Odell dropped it because he was open. He
you got to
should've
say it
scored on
through
it.
too because they caught that one Cruz.
With
the
Cruz,
right
but
side.
that was almost an intermediate throw.
Right.
But the deep pass, Odell had him beat, and you didn't connect on that. But you only threw it once. I don't get that what McAdoo's trying to do. But again, first-year coach, and see what happens
And
there.
they're 2-0.
Yeah, and so you can't complain about that. But they are in New York. They're complaining pretty good about it. Saints in Atlanta, we've talked about this before. It's one of the teams that no matter who's coaching, no matter the players that have changed back and forth, the Saints have matched up so well against them under Sean Payton. Last season, Saints won both games. I got to give Atlanta credit. They went on the coast, played a pretty talented Oakland team. Now, they sloppy, but again, they played a team on the road and ended up winning that football game. Julio Jones certainly, again, shows his presence there. But I do think the addition of Mohamed Sanu has taken some of the pressure off of Julio to not have that bracket coverage or coverage always slanted to his side of the field. And with Coleman and Devontae Freeman at the running back positions, it's given them some sense of balance that they haven't had in the past. Alex Mack, a big part of that at center.
And I'll tell you this much too, Mike. Matt Ryan has played pretty doggone good in that football game, and he's going to be a guy that's. They've always talked about Matty Ice, and he hasn't done his job. And he has to come in here and do something. He hasn't really beaten the Saints. In his career, it's a losing record. We know that. Being in the Dome, though, like you said, the last 5 times on primetime television with the Atlanta Falcons and New Orleans Saints, they're 5-0. Sean Payton is. We need to start playing him in the opening game of the season because his record in the opening game of the season is not like it is when it's primetime game. It's a game they can win. We all know that. They match up well. Like you said, somehow they match up well. It's a game that they got to win because you can't fall 0-3 in a division. Granted, they're only 1 game out of tied for first place because the other guys are ahead of them all at 1-1. And it just goes to show you that with this division, anybody can actually win it. But the Saints have got to show me something. They haven't shown anything in 2 games. 1 game they blow out 34 points. This game they throw 13 points on the board, and then the defense gives up 35. Defense gives up 16. They got to put it together. They got to put everything together.
No identity on this football team. But what has been the difference between Saints and Atlanta? That Matt Ryan has led his team, and they've kicked field goals at the end. Drew Brees has put touchdowns in the 4th quarter. That's been the big difference. More with the John Fourcade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford.